Welcome to MelanatedMagikTV. I am your host, Jessica X. It's been a very long time since I've made a video. I do know, I really don't show my face. I like to, I'm a little introvert. I really don't like to show my face. Anywho, I am going to be doing a live tomorrow. It's going to be at 7:15 p.m. tomorrow, and if I'm not mistaken, I want to say the title of the video is going to be is the American Negro the American Indian, or maybe the other way around. Maybe it's the American Indian and American Negro. Basically, what I'm going to do is talk about the reclassification of the Negro over the years. Well, today, this video is going to be somewhat of like a little intro into the live stream for tomorrow that I will be having. And by the way, that will be my very first live stream. Anywho, reason being I haven't, really been making videos like that. It's been about, 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks since my last upload. And it's been a while since, I've done what I normally do. I've been growing and changing, evolving, going on in my life. And so with that being said, of course, if I'm evolving, the content that I'm putting out will evolve too. So it's been some things going on, a whole lot of things. Some things I will be able to share with you tonight, and other things I don't feel comfortable with sharing. But if things with the ones I don't feel comfortable with sharing right now, if things doesn't change or whatever, or if it progresses or whatever, I probably will decide to share it. Anywho, back to the topic at hand. So over the last month, I've been dealing with both of my parents having COVID. And with both of my parents having COVID, it's been, I'm not gonna lie, it's been hard. My mom, she actually is doing pretty good. She just had to test negative. She actually is walking around, healthy, fine, or whatnot. But my dad, on the other hand, you can hear it in his voice. And my dad is a lot older. My dad is, I'm 32. So my dad is 82. So yeah, he has a bit of an age on him. And there's other family members too, like on my dad's side who are sick or whatever. And with the elders getting sick, stuff tend to come out or whatnot. And I'm going to talk about some of the stuff that tend to come out. Family secrets, transfer of knowledge and family history. A lot of that has, came out since we've been dealing with COVID. And with that being said, stuff, have came back up that has been mentioned to me and other family members over the years. And another thing too, one thing I'm going to put out here before I get into some of the discussions me and my elders have had. For the last 10 years, I've been doing my family's genealogy off and on for the last 10 years. And I'm not going to lie, it's been a struggle. It's been a struggle, finding information or whatnot. Seeing that, especially, it's not, I've noticed with some lines, it's a lot easier if you're searching in another state. But I will say this, in a lot of states, you had a lot of fires. But in Georgia, they had a lot of fires in a lot of counties. And these fires in some of these counties happened 2-3 times. And that's just what I've seen so far. And it'll tell you when you go to get the index for the the courthouse information. It'll tell you, when the name of the town was, not when the name. It'll tell you when the town in the county was created and what it was before, whatnot. It'll tell you also how many, times, or if it's been any courthouse fires. It'll let you know all of that. So it's really hard finding some information, and not everything is online. So some of the stuff I'll say what I mean by online. Some of the stuff you literally have to go to some of these courthouses to get. Sometimes you have to go down. You know, it might not be online per se, but you may find it at one of your state archives or something like that. It may not be in like the ancestry database or the family search database, or it may be just within the federal database itself. So, and then another thing, sometimes you may not find your family information because it may not be in a state database. Well, it will be in a state database, but it may not be like out there in a database where you can actually search it yourself. It may be hidden, because I had a situation with one of my family members where literally a lady contacted me through Ancestry.com. She works at a museum. And with this particular family member, she told me the only reason why, she said she looked at other trees or whatever, and I hadn't completely formed my tree. You know, I only had my grandfather on it. I didn't have my grandmother on it. That particular ancestor that she's been assigned to do research on. So, she just basically told me, you know, I'm going to be honest with you. Because initially, you know, I was like, what the? And I kind of like let her have it initially. And then months later, a year later, I decided to message her back because I'm like, well, she may have crucial information that I do need. So I kind of like need to smooth things over so I can get this information and apologize, you know, for me, you know. Anyway, so she basically told me, you know, like I looked at other people's profiles, you know, their pictures and stuff, like, you know, the icon on Ancestry. And she was like, the only reason why, you know, I decided to message you is because of the fact that you look like this woman. The picture we have, you look just like her. So, and I told my coworker, it's just something by her eyes. And I believe this is her ancestor. Lo and behold, I look at a picture of my fourth great grandmother. We look one and the same. I look like her. Literally, the only difference is I have locks and maybe I'm a little bit darker and our colors are different. But I literally am my grandmother. Like, I'm a spitting image of my fourth great grandmother. And she was born in 1826. But with that being said, I want to talk about a lot of the stuff that the elders told me over the years. And the reason I'm going to bring up some of the stuff that they told me years ago and bring it to, you know, now with some of the stuff that they're telling me now. I mean, I've had ancestors, like, for example, for years, I can remember being really, really, really little and my grandmother telling me, you know, we are Indians. She'd tell me about my granddaddy, you know, she said he got Indian in him too. And she never called herself African. Never, never, never. And I'm going to be honest with you. I don't ever think I've heard her call herself black. I think I've always heard her call herself colored or Negro. But I don't ever think I heard her call herself black. But I know for sure she never called herself an African. Never, ever, ever. Never, ever. And I can remember the very first time my grandmother told me about, you know, our roots. Now, my grandfather, on the other hand, he died in 1992. So I was really, really little, but I can remember, you know, being up under him a lot. I used to follow him around like I was his shadow. So I could remember stuff with my grandfather too. And it was like, I remember him telling me about our history, showing me dances and stuff. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. Some of the stuff my granddaddy would tell me, being grown now, it sounds more like plain Indians. But then again, it could be local Indians, whatever. Tribes, I'm not sure. You know, I was really, really young. I was like 3 when my grandfather died, but I do have a very good memory because I can even remember being an infant. But with my grandmother, she would tell us over the years about our indigenous status, you know, that we're Indians or whatnot. And she also knew my father's side of the family. Like, my grandmother knew My father's dad, his name is Sam Norman. That's my grandfather. And he died in 1947. But my grandmother knew my granddaddy side of the family. The reason I'm emphasizing this is because they, from like the knowledge I have now, we're in this one city, and my grandfather's family is from a few counties over. I'll say like 3-4 counties over. But she knew him very well because she would tell me what he looked like. You know, that he was tall. He was a very tall man, about 6'3", 4", something like that. He was really, really, really tall. And she would emphasize that. She would tell me all the time, I think, you know, they lynched your grandfather or whatever because she said, you know, your family owned, you know, a mine. And I'm not gonna lie, I Googled, I remember looking up, you know, mines in Georgia that have, you know, like stones and stuff. And I happened to come across one that has the same last name as my family, my father's family. And mind you, from what my father told me, he was like, I'm gonna be honest with you, you know, once my daddy died, we didn't see my father's side of the family like that. I don't know, you know, what happened. He was like, I knew my mom knows my dad's side of the family, but I don't know why, you know, they didn't really come around after he died. Like, they completely disappeared. So he told me, you know, that or whatnot. But my grandmother, she would tell me a lot of stuff about him, a whole lot of stuff, about how much land that my family owned or whatnot. It's a lot. That she told me. She was like, basically, you know, your family, you know, your daddy's side, she this is what she said. She said, I believe them Peak people, you know, had him leased to steal the land because his people own literally damn near a whole county. And that's what my grandmother told me years ago. And a lot of this stuff you'll forget over the years or whatever. Or, you know, if you're not ready for this information, you don't really know what to do. You just push it to the back of your brain or whatnot. So that's what I did. And plus, I'm not even going to lie, like, I let the system indoctrinate me at times, because I remember, you know, when I was real little, I was in kindergarten, and I was so proud. And I remember Black History Month came up, and I'm sitting there, and I remember my grandma used to tell me, she was like, a lot of us are not African. She was like, we're not African. A lot of us are Indian. And so she would get upset when so-called Black History Month come up and they call us African. She was like, no, I'm not an African. But I remember she was telling me, this month is Indian History Month. And so, you know, she would show me little stuff from my history, show me dances and stuff, show me how to make little stuff here and there and whatnot. Show me how to comb my hair, show me how to put certain fats on your hair to make your hair, you know, straight or whatnot. She would show me how to get sap from the trees, all that. And I remember I went to school and told my goddamn teacher, Miss Calloway. Remember her name. I never forget her name because the shit that she said to me affected me for years. And I remember I told her, I was so excited. She told me she wanted me to find a person, one out of history, and color him. So I remember telling her, you know, I'm not African, so I don't feel like I should, you know, have to do that or whatever. And I'm not gonna lie, I've always been a child who questioned authority. So I can remember, like, this shit was yesterday. This lady looked at me and was like, you gonna do it? And then I told her, she was like, well, why don't you want to do it? I said, because I'm not African, I'm Indian. And this white lady looked at me and said, well, I'm Cherokee, and looking at my skin and looking at yours, you too dark to be an Indian. So maybe your grandmama lied to you. Because I know for a fact I'm Indian, and look at my color, and you not, baby. You're an African. That's what that white lady told me. And it stuck. You know, I was little, and I didn't have the full comprehension of what racism and bias and all of these different terms were. I didn't have the full understanding or knowledge that I have today. And I didn't realize, you know, what this lady was telling me was a fucking lie, you know, that because I'm darker hue, that automatically makes me a so-called African without even showing me proof that I'm a so-called African. You just saying, going off your freaking eyeballs, that I'm a so-called African. But from what our heritage say, it say, especially my mama birth certificate, it say Negro. And on my grandma birth certificate, it say colored. And I hadn't found, and I'm gonna be honest, since I've been doing our ancestry, I hadn't found not one foreigner in the group. Now I will say this much here: I have found one slave, but I'm still a little iffy about that situation now. Like, I will be honest with you, when you get to doing your own research and get to doing your own ancestry, you get to reading some of these files and stories and stuff, you get to doing research yourself, you start to realize what we have been told in history is absolutely, positively a freaking lie. You realize then that everything they have been telling us since we were this goddamn big all the way up until you graduate high school and go on to college has been a lie. It has been a lie. Hell, so much so that, hell, I remember I was talking to my mom, and it was a while ago, and she was like, well, I'm just going to say, just go look at the the Civil Rights Act, I want to say 1968, 1969, something like that. She said, this was years ago, 68. And I looked in it, and I'm getting a look, and I'm looking, I'm like, Indian. Well, damn. And I'm talking to my mom, because my mom was alive during all of this time. My mom was alive when Martin Luther King was killed. My dad was alive during all of this time too. So I'm asking questions. I'm like, well, mama, what did you see on TV? What did you hear? What did you see in the news? Like, what did you see in the streets and all of this stuff or whatnot? And she's telling me stuff or whatever. She was like, and I'm like, what did you see in the, like pale Indians or whatever, some of these little natives out there? She was like, I'm gonna be honest with you, I ain't seen that damn pink person out there that was, a native like that. One of them little $5 Indians or whatever, the pretendians, or what I like to call, well, this new term